So each year, wargamers make the pilgrimage to London to what is deemed Europe's largest wargaming show, Salute. And this year and today, I am about to do the same. I'm just about to get on the road. As you can tell, I'm in the car. I'm going to go pick up Mark and Andy, and we're going to head up to London for Salute. I'm going to take some pictures while I'm there of the different tables, games, anything new that I've seen that I think you might like to know. And hopefully I'll try grab a few interviews, but I know the hall is usually very loud. So we'll wait and see whether that is possible. So anyway, I'm going to get on the road. For you, it's going to be seconds, and we'll roll the film for what was at Salute this year. When we'll come back, I'll get back to the house and I'll show you what I've bought this year and wrap up the video there. So let's get going. So I'm back from Salute, and it was an incredibly busy, eventful day. It started off, the trip that we'd planned was a little bit thrown out by the DLR being having some engineering works done on it, and that just made the journey to Excel a little bit of an epic adventure for Mark, Andy and myself. We managed to get there about 11:15, no queues whatsoever, jumped straight through. We didn't get any of the goodies in our goodie bag, although Mark did, because he had a special pass, being that he was on one of the speaking panels. But that's all right. It is what it is. We've got the sort of magazine for Salute, which obviously useful in terms of having the map and bits and pieces in there. So that was worthwhile picking up. Now, the show itself was extremely busy. In fact, from what I've heard, it sold out, which I have to say was probably the biggest positive of the day. And we were reflecting on the way back that actually this really is a huge positive for the hobby itself. It shows that people are interested in the hobby, they're engaging in the hobby, and potentially the hobby is growing because there's so many people who wouldn't have made it to the show itself. So a huge positive there. And I just at this point want to say a massive well done to the team organising Salute. It was a huge undertaking, I'm absolutely certain of, and they pulled off really, really well. So a massive well done to them. Now I am going to talk about the positives and the negatives because I want to sort of do a little bit more of a kind of a reflection on my time at Salute this year. I didn't put as many pictures in the small montage that you will have just seen, and that's because of something I'm going to come on to shortly. But before I do, I just want to talk about very quickly the people that I bumped into and had chats with, because for me that was another huge highlight of the show this year. So in no particular order, I had some great conversations with the the Blake brothers, Alan and Mikey. Great to catch up with them and have a good conversation. Get their thoughts on the show. So that was great. I also bumped into Alex from Storm of Steed. Had a really good conversation with him about YouTube and being a YouTuber. So that was great. Big shout out to him and I've seen his video is already out, so do check that out. He covers the tables a lot better than I did, but that's great. Multiple channels, you get a whole view of Salute rather than the same thing from everyone. So yeah, big shout out to him. I also bumped into Ken from the Yorkshire Gamer, and not only was he great to chat to, he gave me a bit of time of his lunch break, but he also remembered me, which was hugely humbling. That not only did he remember me from last year's Salute, but also was aware of my channel, and he'd put on a fantastic game which won best large scale game of the show, and definitely deserved. So well done, Ken, for that. I also bumped into people like Richard Clark, had a nice little chat with him, got his views on the show. Bumped into Mark at Great Escape Games, had a nice little conversation about what's coming from them. I got it wrong, Plains Indians are not this year, probably next year, but this year hopefully some Apache Renegades, so look out for those. And the set that they've got coming out very soon, which hopefully I'll be reviewing on the channel, is Horses Standing Still, which will be a nice little plastic sprue. So check out that review when that comes out later on this year. I also bumped into Dougie and Alex Robinson, and they gave me this flyer for their new company, Pegasus Miniatures. Definitely check them out if you haven't already. They've got a Facebook group, and of course, Dougie's got his YouTube channel. Absolutely fantastic to meet up with them. They're just great guys, and I have so much fun chatting to them. We're very much on the same page in terms of the hobby, and if we're not enjoying it, there's no point doing it, sort of thing. And you know what, and it's just fantastic to spend time chatting to them. So hopefully they made it back to Newcastle safely, and look forward to seeing them again, hopefully sooner than next year, but who knows, it may well just be Salute next year. And there's probably lots of other people that I met up with that I'm just not remembering. I'm so tired from yesterday doing all the driving and obviously being at the show for quite a long time yesterday. But a huge shout out to all those that I did see, and to those that I didn't. It was a shame we didn't get to catch up, but I'm hopefully you had a great time at Salute as well. So I want to talk about Salute itself as a show, because yesterday I had a bit of a different feeling about it. It wasn't what I experienced last year, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but I talked to quite a few different people, and the feeling was that there was a bit of a different vibe about it this year. There was obviously a lot of people, which is a huge positive, but there seemed to be a bit of a shift towards more sci-fi games in terms of the traders who were selling. There was obviously some notable traders missing, such as Bacchus, Pendragon, Eureka weren't there. I think Griffin Beast weren't there. And those, I would say, are typically historical companies. So it was a bit odd to not have them there. And of course, I mean, my wallet was quite happy because I didn't spend too much. But it did give a slightly different feel. Now, there was quite a lot of historical games going on, so I don't think that necessarily in terms of the games that were being put on, or participation games, historicals were the minority in any way, but it just did seem to feel like there was a slight shift. And I did chat to Glenn and Martin over at Warbases, who, again, I forgot to doing the shout out, so big shout out to them because they were fantastic. I had some really good conversations with them, but they were saying that perhaps the shift towards a more sci-fi based I don't know, traders, or just the general feel, is possibly to do with the demographics of the people that are now in the hobby or coming into the hobby. And in some ways, the hobby needs to adapt to be able to encourage more people in and keep the hobby going and growing the hobby. So I think, I'm not suggesting that Salute was rubbish because it felt different, but it was a notable feeling that it was different, and whether that's a positive or negative, I'm not sure, and that's probably up for debate. And I'd love to hear your comments below. You know, do you think that this is a good thing, a bad thing? Do you think that it doesn't really matter as long as the hobby is healthy? Obviously, for us hobbyists, us wargamers, a healthy hobby is a positive thing for us, surely, because that means we've got more choice and more people to play games with, and you know, all round, it puts the hobby in a good place, I believe. But anyway, that's just some brief thoughts. Obviously, you'll have your own thoughts. If you were there, definitely drop your comments below. I'd love to hear what you think. And if you weren't there, but you've maybe noticed a change in the hobby or what you're seeing online, again, just let me know in the comments below. I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts. Now, of course, you're probably hanging on, hoping that I'm going to reveal what I bought yesterday at Salute. And of course, I am going to. So without further ado, I'm going to lift the terrace houses out of the way and let's have a look at what I bought yesterday. So the purchases yesterday were, I would say, meager. I have to say, I didn't find there was a lot of stalls there that I wanted to purchase things from. I did refrain from buying the 2-player starter set for StarCraft. I had a look at the game that was being put on at one of the stands. There was a lot of interest for the game. It did look really interesting, and I personally played StarCraft 1 as a kid and absolutely loved it. But to me, the game that was there that they've created doesn't feel like the StarCraft game that I want to play. Now, whether that means in the future I'm going to play around with some figures and some ideas and put something together that I can just play myself, I don't know. We'll wait and see. But certainly I decided not to pick up the game. But what I did pick up was some essentials, or at least that's what I'm telling Mrs. T. Now, I went over to War Bases, saw Glenn, and just picked up one packet of bases. These are going to be for my artillery for my 6mm Napoleonics. So I'm in a good place to start putting some of those units together. I nearly picked up some bases for the Limbers, but couldn't remember what size I'd measured it that I needed. So I'll just put another order in with Boar bases. That's absolutely fine. I've got other things I need to order from them in the future anyway. So you can always put an order in for War bases. I was also gifted, there was a lady coming around giving away figures from previous Salutes. So this is from 2019. They had a load extra and they were just giving away. So I got this. I don't know if I'll do anything with it. So if anybody is interested and wants it, put a comment down below and, you know, hey, maybe I'll send it to you as a little thank you for your support. Right, other things. Pre-ordered. I pre-ordered the new Battle Group scenario book. This is La Haye de Poitiers, or I'm not a French speaker, so unfortunately I've butchered that. I apologise. But this is 9 scenarios for the Battle of La Haye de Poitiers in Normandy in 1944. So a nice little addition to my collection of Battle Group books. I've actually got now all but one, which is Bag Ration, which I really should have picked up when it came out, but I didn't, so I'll have to get that another time. Because I pre-ordered it, that actually came with a couple of figures. They're 3D printed figures from PSC, and this is a nice little German sniper team. So I'm looking forward to doing something with that to add to my German forces. I also realised I hadn't got the Kustrin scenario book, which is 9 scenarios from the Battle of Kustrin in 1945 on the Eastern Front. That will go brilliantly with my Soviets in 20mm, so quite pleased to have that. Had a really nice chat with Pierce and Warwick. Again, another one that another two that I forgot from the people I bumped into and had a chat with, but really nice to catch up with them. Good friends that I don't get to see all that often, but it's always nice when I do. We had some really good chats, introduced my friend Andy to them, and I'm looking forward to now putting on some games at the club, kind of learning games to learn the mechanics of Battle Group, so that we can have some a lot more games in the club. So that's the books. And then finally, a bit of a surprise purchase. I didn't realise that Great Escape Games had brought out this, but this is the Doctor's Office. for Dead Man's Hand. It's a new set that's come out, and it comes really nicely, not only with the building itself, which I think is just one of the ordinary plastic buildings that they have, with the walkways and all the usual bits and a dog, but it also comes with a frontage for a doctor's sign, which says doctor and has a space. Now, the reason I picked this up, and I'm a bit of a sucker for nostalgia, but this had the name Dr. M. Quinn, which is Michaela Quinn from the series Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, which came out in the 90s. I grew up with it. I've been rewatching it with my wife, and I saw this and I just couldn't say no. It was really tricky. But this comes with the signage, and it comes with a lot of furniture for inside the office itself. So this is brilliant. I now need to find a Wild West female figure, or maybe even use some of the plastic female gunfighters. See if I can create a figure that looks like Dr. Quinn that I can stick in here. So look out on the channel. I'll be doing a review of this set. I'll probably also be getting a figure together and putting this together, or maybe as a video. We'll wait and see. But there we go. That was the big purchase. And a big thanks to Mark for the minor discount that he gave me on that. Really appreciate it. It goes a long way to supporting the channel. So big thank you to Mark for that. So that's it. Not a huge purchase. I did pick up some snake fences from my friend Alex at the club as he couldn't make it. But again, nothing massive. And maybe that tells its own story about Salute this year. I was looking to get a big purchase from Bacchus, but again, they weren't there, so I'll have to order those online. But yeah, really interesting. Lots of thoughts on Salute, about how it might have been a bit different this year. But do, as I say, put your comments down below. It'd be really interesting to see what your thoughts are, and we can discuss in the comments after this video comes out. So I'm going to stop rabbiting now, because that's just what I'm doing now. Once again, thank you to everybody who's supporting the channel, and to all those people who said hello to me yesterday and had conversations. It was fantastic, really, really nice. And I saw Pete the Wargamer as well. Finally got to meet him. I've been watching his channel for a few years now, so that was nice. But anyway, enough of that. Thank you ever so much for your support. I'll be back next week with the video that was supposed to come out this week, which will be my initial thoughts on the Peninsula War supplement for Soldiers of Napoleon. So do check that out if you're interested. Obviously, I've just swapped them around because I had time to get this video done. But that's that. I'll be back, as I say, next Sunday with that review video. I'll also be back on Wednesday for my next live stream, Hobby Hangout, so do check out that and join us for that, for a bit more conversation on Salute, I'm sure. And until next time, take care, stay safe, and we'll see you soon.